10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Alright folks, hello and welcome to the Netolic Raid Call Pro League East Division Losers Bracket Round 3, and all that jargon really means is that we are about to see two titans of Asian Dota go up against each other. I personally am surprised, perhaps you're surprised too, that we're seeing Vici Gaming versus Orange as a Losers Bracket game rather than the Grand Final. These were basically the two favorites for this tournament after Zenith did have to bow out of Group B. But both teams starting in the winner's bracket and then dropping down to the loser's bracket. Vici Gaming, of course, losing to April Fool's Day, Despicable Me 2, in 2-1 in their winner's bracket round 2 series, and Orange falling 2-0 to MUFC. Both surprising results, and here we see these teams having dropped down to the loser's bracket, playing to avoid elimination, playing to get into at least third place, playing to finish in the money for the tournament. No matter what happens, this is one game, best of one. One team goes home, one team moves to the loser's bracket final. And the loser's bracket final, of course, will be held on April 28th, best of 3. So this is the last best of 1 that either of these teams have to play, and it would be a bitter pill to swallow if they would have to go home having lost in this best of 1 rather than move on. So that sets the stage, but there's a lot to talk about this matchup nonetheless, but let me go ahead and introduce really quick. This is the Netolic Raid Call Pro League. It's been going for a little less than a month now, most of the month of April, leading up to the Grand Finals on May the 5th. This is your official English stream, Netolic TV, Netolic TV. We're covering both the East and West divisions. I'm your primary English caster for this tournament, Vikramond, VYKROMOND. And let me go ahead and talk about our sponsor real quick, our voiceover program called Raid Call. You should check it out, www.raidcall.com. And channel 2013 of Raid Call, of course, does have giveaways and discussion of the games all throughout the tournament. You should check that out. So here we are, Orange versus VG. I will be doing a solo cast, by the way, folks. It looks like, unfortunately, my co-caster is asleep. So here we go. VG already telegraphing their draft quite a bit. They are revealing their intent, whereas Orange could still go a lot of different ways. We see that both teams have taken very different approaches. VG basically picking up both their sort of Dragon Knight and Juggernaut cores, whereas Orange, they have their mid in the form of Magnus, and then they just have their support pair. So two different drafting philosophies, two different approaches. VG, if any of you thought that we might sort of see a hardcore 4 protect 1 hard carry approach from them, I am beginning to doubt that. Instead, because Lone Druid was banned in the first phase, VG have decided to go with the Juggernaut Dragon Knight. So the Juggernaut Lone Druid has become an incredibly fearsome combo used in Asia to make an unstoppable pushing force of sorts. And in this case, VG, since they know that Lone Druid is banned, have drafted the next best thing, a Dragon Knight. Most likely, I would guess that what we're going to see is CTY, VG's mid player, go up on this Dragon Knight in the mid, and then Juggernaut for ZSMJ as the side lane farmer. We've actually seen ZSMJ on Juggernaut before, even in this tournament, and he has had a very impressive performance, combining the ability to farm effectively across the map with killer instinct and ability to join in teamfights even fairly early. And we'll have to see if VG's sort of pushing and mid-game composition will be successful here. Orange, they can go a lot of different ways. There are still a couple mid-game effective carries available. There's Luna, there's Gyrocopter, although it's less popular in the East than it is in the North American, European scene. Oh no, I'm sorry, Gyrocopter actually banned out, so very few mid-game carries available. VG are seeking to pigeonhole Orange into a late-game carry approach. You can see that unlike most ban phases, there's a very heavy concentration of carries. So you have the Lone Druid banned out by VG. You have Lifestealer, Gyrocopter, and Alchemist all taken out by VG. Sorry, Lone Druid was taken out by Orange. So Orange, they're being pushed by VG into trying to take a more farm-heavy hero. And of course, we do know that Mushi likes playing all sorts of exotic farm-heavy heroes. We've seen him on the Outworld Destroyer. We've seen him on Luna. I would say that Luna probably the most likely option here, but there's still additional things. If they want Wombo combo, they could go with Faceless Void. If they want to just dump a lot of Mana Drain and Magic on them, they could go with the anti-mage. The only question is, if they do go with something that's a harder carry, will VG simply walk over them with push? With the Juggernaut and Dragon Knight could be very dangerous. In fact, it's great that Orange managed to secure this Leshrac for themselves, because that would be the ideal support for VG to fit into this picture. Meanwhile, Orange, interestingly enough, have not really banned supports that heavily. Oh man, and we have the Luna banned out, so just so many mid-game carries. VG, a really tactical draft approach here taken. They really want to take out all the options for Orange to actually have a hero for Mushi that gets farm early and is actually effective, so that they can just dominate them with Juggernaut and Dragon Knight. And Orange, they will have to draft very deftly. Alternately, they will have to be pitch perfect in terms of their execution to make sure that they don't get pressured very heavily early. I think this could be a huge problem, in fact. Meanwhile, lots of solo lane options taken out as well. Nature's Prophet, the Clockwork gone. We do still see Darkseer, and that might be something that we do end up seeing. Darkseer, quite effective against Dragon Knight if Dragon Knight is in his Elder Dragon form, because the illusions generated by the Wall of Replica will be effective. Darkseer, however, a little less effective against the Juggernaut, simply because while he's either in Blade Fury or Omni Slash, you really can't do much about it. You can't vacuum him, for instance, and you don't really do that much damage to him. Queen of Pain, so with Orange are forestalling their 5th decision now. Let's note that Orange is the first pick in this game. So, in this case, what that means is that VG actually got an opportunity to last pick, counter pick whatever Orange actually takes for their carry. And actually, VG, even though they did not win the first... Ooh, Chaos Knight. Huh. That changes things. Most likely, I guess what we're actually going to see is a solo lane Juggernaut in this case. They'll pick up another support, and they'll actually go with the CK in a tri-lane, which is interesting. We have seen Juggernaut solo lane before. XTT has played this hero, I think, and that would mean that ZSMJ would be up on the Chaos Knight. This is, I have to say that this feels a little greedy to me, VG's approach. I'm a little bit concerned that they have a very heavy melee now, and the early game that I thought that they would dominate Orange so heavily now seems a little more iffy. Tinker, actually, for Orange. This is interesting. So Orange, they've decided to forego... They see that VG is trying to pitch... Io! Interesting. I had this in the back of my mind, but I never thought that a Chinese team would actually draft up this Io. But, folks, we're in for a treat. We have VG going for a very non-Chinese strategy, and definitely a team that's seeking to innovate, seeking to make a name for itself relative to the titans of the scene, relative to your IG, your DK, your LGD. And wow, I'm very interested to see how this works out. Io, of course... This Chaos Knight IO combo, something that it's almost decontextualized when you see it here, because people who only primarily watch European and North American teams may be like, oh my god, Vikrmond, why do you care about this CK IO so much? It's so boring and common. But it's actually not common at all when you talk about it being used in the Southeast Asian, East Asian, Chinese scene. And it's a very interesting choice. A lot of teams in China don't really favor this Wisp because they're concerned about its laning potential. So they think that, oh, it makes you lose the lane, and then you struggle to actually get the Wisp relevant. Plus, teams can grow up as 5 and sort of just dominate you that way. But in this case, VG, they're willing to take that chance. The IO gives you global presence. It gives a great response to the Tinker even after the Tinker earns Boots of Travel. It punishes heroes who are sort of caught alone, like Queen of Pain can be in some instances. And it can be very, very useful if you survive the laning phase. And speaking of the laning phase, we have to see what these teams actually come up with. It looks like perhaps an aggressive tri-lane and then XTT, this is a little safe. Well, we'll have to see, folks. At any rate, both teams seeking to sort of catch each other out early. We do have both teams piercing into each other's jungle. For VG, this is more about just placing these wards down, blocking some of these camps, and they will get out of here. Let's go ahead and talk about what the players are, because we have some star-studded lineups in this game. Orange, we'll see them on the Radiant side. Their aggressive tri-lane will be composed of This can't be right. At any rate, we do have Net on the Rubik, Extinct on the Leshrac. Great support pair, very classic support pair in today's metagame. The mid looks to be piloted by Ohio on the Tinker. Then we have Mushi as the solo safe Queen of Pain, and Mushi likes this farming Queen of Pain. We even sometimes see him go an auto attack style Queen of Pain, so we'll have to see if that happens. Oh, ZSMJ, he actually gets seen by Net and X. This could be tough. They lift up with a Rubik. The Split Earth will come out. KYXY hits with the Shockwave. A few more auto attacks and it would do it, but the thing is, Chaos Knight is pretty tanky. He's at 45 HP. Yes! They will get the first blood. Extinct actually draws it, and ZSMJ walking into a trap, unfortunately, to start this off, and that is not how they wanted their tri-lane to begin. VG, the team that has brought ZSMJ back from the dead, this fantastic player, this legend of Dota carries, will be playing up on the Chaos Knight in this tri-lane with Fi and Fenrir, an absolutely excellent support pair. We've seen some huge... Oh no, Fi is actually lifted up on this Wisp. He does have the Split Earth, and KYXY does a little bit of shockwave damage. Will they actually pick off this Wisp? They have to go into the... Yes! Another kill for Extinct, and so far, Orange, they're putting a little bit of the fear into VG. The problem with Wisp, as I said, the criticism, oh man, this courier way out of position, but they won't be able to catch it, it doesn't look like. And in fact, was this a trap? Were they baiting with the courier? I'm not sure. Let's go back to introducing VG. CTY, their former carry player, now the mid playmaker role that suits him so much better. He will be piloting the Dragon Knight this game, and in the solo versus solo lane, we have XTT on the Juggernaut going up against Mushi's Queen of Pain. And that's it, folks. We've got some huge matchups. We have an unusual matchup in the top. It's rare that you see Magnus as the anchor of a tri-lane, but Orange know that they want to pressure VG's tri. Wisp is potentially a little bit soft in that early gameplay, and they want to punish that as much as possible. They want to get Fi the slow levels. Fi has been such a consequential support for VG in some of these games. He actually can find the farm. In fact, I think back to VG's game against TNC, where Fi was on Lina and actually managed to just be huge. He got Aghanim Scepter, he got Scythe of Vice, he got Force Staff, he got everything that you could possibly want on Alina, all from the 4 role. And his play as Shadow Demon has been remarkable. Fenrir's play as Shadow Demon is actually very good. In fact, Fi and Fenrir, I would say, are just a really, really strong support pair. The problem here for VG, the question I have for them is, have they been drafted a support pair where they can really succeed? Obviously, if Fi finds his levels, he'll be in very good shape. But if he doesn't, if this IO actually hits its levels fairly late, I'm a little bit concerned about VG's lineup. I feel that they won't be able to bring the push together. Chaos Knight, Shadow Demon, IO is not a pushing composition. Juggernaut Dragon Knight suggests a pushing composition, but the supports bring very little to that. In fact, Wisp, one of the worst wave clearers in the game. Shadow Demon, not that fast of a wave clearer either. Let's take a look at the farm so far. We do have ZSMJ with about 6 last hits. This is okay considering he has a very tough lane here. You actually see that VG, they don't bend over backwards in most games to make sure that ZSMJ gets free farm. It really was only when he got that anti-mage in Game 2 against AFD that they really just made sure that he had completely free raid. In these other games, they sort of rely on multiple cores. In fact, a tri-core in this game, which is quite remarkable just in terms of the amount of total farm that they have to pick up. KYXY actually disconnected. I wonder if he didn't mean to be this far up. He's in a little bit of trouble here, I would say. Only level 2. He has this level 1 skewer. He may have to skewer back. It looks as if VG may seek to sort of disrupt him here because, of course, ZSMJ is caught a little bit out of place, too. I would say that both teams have to be fairly careful here. They have to make sure that ZSMJ doesn't die, and for Orange, they have to make sure that KYXY isn't too pressured. I would say that it's VG actually in a little bit of more trouble here. We do have Fi summoning his spirits, so we just put them out. He's pulling them in. We're probably going to see him tether ZSMJ. Tether does break these trees, so when you see these trees breaking down, ZSMJ can walk this way. And that'll be okay, actually. I think ZSMJ is more or less safe. The concern for me, for VG, is that they drafted this aggressive lineup and this very greedy lineup. It has 3 heroes that all require a farm. Chaos Knight, Dragon Knight, and Juggernaut in the bottom. And the 3 knights all are fairly item dependent. Juggernaut a little less so than most, but they're going to want some items as well as levels. And currently, they don't really have the advantage in any of these lanes. Tinker is actually doing pretty well in the mid, Ohio. He's got 14 last hits to CTY 7. And the chances of CTY actually killing Ohio, unless the supports rotate over for VG, are very slim. And the issue is, the supports for VG almost can't rotate over. ZSMJ is in tremendous danger if Fi and Fenrir ever leave. And so what that means is that they can't really punish Ohio, and I would expect a very aggressive Boots of Travel timing from this Tinker. The success of a Tinker is quite dependent on whether his Boots of Travel comes in a timely fashion or not, and I just don't see VG really punishing that Boots of Travel unless they really hem Ohio in with some early pushes. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, XTT actually getting pressured very heavily by Mushi. You see that Mushi has 16 last hits and 9 denies. XTT, only 1 last hit and 0 denies. So far, that hasn't really shown in the XP that much because, of course, XTT is a melee hero. Melee heroes receive more experience than ranged heroes if a creep is denied. But still, he's not quite level 4 yet. Mushi already reaching into level 4. And this lane's not going to get any easier for Juggernaut as it goes on. I would expect that he can get some last hits. But the thing is that he has to conserve health. He's got no tangos, just the single healing salve. And so he has to be a little careful about how close he actually gets. For now, he'll be happy to amass XP. Let's take a look at levels now that we're talking about XP. So far, we can't really see very much except for the fact that these extra denies have given a little bit of an advantage to Orange. You can see in the middle, actually in the middle is about the same. But Leshrac Extinct, since he earned that first blood, is actually up to level 3. He is more or less balanced. Yeah, there's not really that huge of a difference in XP, about a K overall across all the heroes. But the level's basically the same for their counterparts. Level 2 for KYXY and ZSMJ. The flip side of having this Magnus in the Tri is, of course, that it'll get slow levels because the aggressive Tri-Lane can't find XP anywhere else. So this is only a level 2 Magnus, basically at the same stage as ZSMJ is at. Supports levels 3 and 2 respectively, same deal for Extinct and Net. And in the bottom lane, Mushi just a little bit ahead of XTT. Ohio basically at the same, at the exact same XP value as CTY. So overall, not that much of a story told by the levels just yet. The primary story so far is if we look at, of course, gold. Yeah, sorry, XP is basically even. If we look at gold, about 1,500 extra, and that really comes down to the fact that when we look at last hits, they are winning in every lane. CTY doing the best, 13 last hits, 3 denies. It's still just a little bit behind. Well, no, actually, it's basically tied with Ohio. But in the bottom, Mushi, quite a bit ahead of XTT. KYXY, quite a bit ahead of ZSMJ. And this is a problem I don't think VG can afford not to solve. The question will be how to actually solve it. By the way, folks, we're hoping to get KYXY back. It does look like he disconnected. Yeah, he's on his way back. So, excuse me. VG, they can afford for maybe one of these 3 core heroes to not have their items, and I think that's going to be probably XTT. But I don't think they can afford for ZSMJ to not have his items. When you take this IO Chaos Knight, and again, this is an uncharacteristic pick for a Chinese team. They're all aware of it, they all know it can be strong, but they don't generally deploy it because they worry about its lane efficiency. And that's really what we see here, is that Orange, even with this non-traditional Magnus-anchored tri-lane, are really winning this 3v3 combat so far. And VG, maybe when Fi hits 3, he will have that second rank of Spirits that's a lot more harassment damage potential. They actually do tether up, so 1 second stun on KYXY. There's the Reality Rift, a lot of damage getting thrown out, but unfortunately the Split Earth returns, and ZSMJ might pay for this with his life. He pops Magic Wand, I think, is going to give him a little more health. KYXY chasing, he actually dies, so that might have been a mistake. Extinct, he throws out the Lightning Storm, that will be good enough for a kill on ZSMJ, but he may die. Split Earth comes down, dealing quite a bit of damage for Fenrir, but a trade. 2 for VG, 1 for Orange, and VG, signs of life in this lane. Fenrir runs down his mana completely, but they do kill ZSMJ once again, taking him to 0-2-2. The Magic Wand kept him alive a little more, but he's going to need even more to survive in this lane, unfortunately. Meanwhile, KYXY, he does drop as well, so this is a level 2 Magnus still, but ZSMJ, oh man, he didn't have the... Or interesting that he didn't choose to TP back, he actually walks back. So KYXY, he's going to earn his level 3 before ZSMJ does. So, still a tough lane for VG, especially considering Fenrir, forced to walk back, no more mana, has to drag his ass all the way home. And Bottle is taken up by that mid. CTY is Bottle crowing to make sure he succeeds in this middle lane, and so it's not something that VG can access in the top lane. Fi, however, he's at all full health and mana. He's halfway through level 3, actually a little more than halfway through. And so this Wisp, so far the good news, the IO, I'm sorry. It has Spirits, which do good damage. It still has that Tether, which is a good get-out-of-jail-free card. It did earn them 2 kills for 1 there, which you really have to interpret as somewhat of an advantage for VG. Problem is, they're consistently having their players sent home. XTT, he has to go all the way home. He didn't want to pop his healing salve there, leaving it up in case of emergency. Spirit's up for 5, but will he get lifted up? Orange definitely seeking to pressure him. Fi, unfortunately, copping as a Satyr Hellcaller fireball to the face for 100 points of damage there. So, XTT, he was basically banished. Fenrir, actually, this is a 2 versus 3 up top here. We'll see if Orange trying to take control of this. Meanwhile, Fenrir with the smoke gank. They are going to try to pressure Ohio in the mid. CTY pops his ultimate. There's the disruption. There's the soul catcher. We're going to get the stun. XCT is here too. The Blade Fury comes through. Ohio is dead. Ohio is completely dead. And Orange, they need to respond quickly with something at top, but Fenrir and ZSMJ are into the tower. Good rotation. Good play from Fenrir there. That was actually very smart. When your lane feels a little bit safe, just immediately rotate over and try to get a kill, and they succeed. I said that they might have trouble pressuring Ohio. That wasn't trouble there. That was exactly what they needed. They find a kill. The Tinker goes down to 0 and 1. CTY basically now a little bit of an advantage in this mid with the kill on the Tinker, who actually earned that kill. Actually, Shadow Demon got the kill, but still, I mean, it's XP for CTY as well as some gold. Meanwhile, on the bottom, Mushi free farming as Queen of Pain. He's got 37 last hits, 17 denies. XTT actually left the lane to help with that kill. Good Lone Druid-esque play from XTT here, actually. Pulling the creeps back to a point behind the tier 1 tower where Mushi can't punish him. Now, because he's not Lone Druid, he can't multitask this. He can't do it with one... he can't leave his hero safe while the bear picks up the creeps. He has to do it manually, and so he's going to cop more harassment damage, as well as having to sort of clear out that wave and do it only for once out of every 2 creep camps or so. But nonetheless, this is some XP for XTT. He will hit his level 6 off this creep camp. ZSMJ is lifted up in the top. There's the Split Earth. There's the Shockwave. ZSMJ in a lot of trouble here. He will die. He just doesn't have the survivability yet, folks. He needs more survivability. The Spirits get thrown out. KYXY taking a decent amount of damage. The Soul Catcher will hit, but do they actually have anything left in the tank? Unfortunately, Fenrir, I think a lack of coordination here. This was an unnecessary use of 170 precious mana because they had no way of following up. They had no more spirits, and the Wisp really alone isn't going to do much. Unfortunately, that's CSMJ's 3rd death, and this Chaos Knight really struggling. We actually see that the Magnus is only level 4 himself, but he doesn't have 3 deaths on the board. He's a less item-intensive hero. Magnus really... if you're not going to get the Blink, you really want the Blink, but even just Arcane Boots, you're feeling pretty confident. Chaos Knight, not so. You really want things like Drums, Power Treads, and even Armlet to be an effective hero, and ZSMJ is just... I'm worried that he may end up being sort of a non-factor this game. Orange really seeking to pressure him out with this tri-lane, and so far, they're meeting not a lot of resistance from VG. They just don't have the tools to make this tri-lane work, in my opinion. Taking another look at the farm. Oh, actually, we do have a stun on KYXY. Only a 1-second stun, unfortunately. He skewers to safety. Oh, Fi gets taken down with a good stun combo. It's a trade, 1-for-1, KYXY for the IO, and that's an okay trade for VG. They actually feel somewhat comfortable with that, what I would say. And this is getting to the point where it's a dangerous enough lane that it's going to be hard to avoid trading. It's going to be hard to get a free and clear kill. So VG, the aggressors that time, earning a kill, anytime that ZSMJ stays alive and KYXY doesn't, is actually a very big deal in this lane. And it's a dangerous, bloody lane so far. 9 kills in 8 minutes, and a lot of them coming in that sort of bottom area. Ohio just peeling CTY off of the tower here. Dragon Knight level 1 ultimate form, of course, very able to push, very able to deal damage to towers because its damage over time effect does go on buildings. But now March of the Machines used by Ohio to sort of be a little more defensive, just keep CTY off his tower, keep CTY from securing this lane for himself. This is the great news for VG right now, is CTY. 46 last hits to Ohio's 48. He's farming very, very well in this Dragon Knight. Less so here, 40 last hits for KYXY to 12 for ZSMJ. Less so in the bottom lane, where Juggernaut has 16 and Mushi has 58. If we look at the gold... Oh, actually, Mushi diving on XCT, but it's just to harass him out of lane. XCT, he will have to back off here, and Mushi securing the lane once again for himself. If we look at XP... VG in fine shape, only a little bit behind Orange. But if we look at gold, Orange is well ahead. Of almost 4,000 gold ahead at 9 minutes. And that's the fact that their farm equity in the bottom and top lanes has been so much better so far. Fenrir just oh, actually, he pops his ultimate. Extinct. He actually has 2 stacks of Shadow Poison. Oh man, Fenrir takes a lot of damage. Net just throwing all that back out in forms of the Fade Bolt. But it looks like Fenrir will survive, and they're chasing. They're continuing to chase. XCT, he jumps up with the Omni Slash. The Blade Fury will be enough. Maybe for 2. Maybe for 2. Yes! They score 2 kills. Ohio is here, but he can't prosecute this. Net, in fact, might get caught out here. They will hit him with a couple spirits. They lift up XCT. He may die. Yes! The laser is good. And buyback from Extinct, actually. They really don't want this lane going any worse than it already is. And that will be the end of that. 2 for 1 for VG. They lose XTT, but earn 2 kills with a combination of the Omni slash Blade Fury. And meanwhile, Mushi destroys a tower, but so does CTY. A tower for a tower, 2 kills for 1, and a very interesting game developing here, folks. Lots of dynamics involved. Net, he does steal this rune. CTY will not be able to pick up that DD, a great item for Dragon Knight. And Mushi, now that he's earned the tier 1 tower, now that he's farmed up 70 last hits, I think we're going to start seeing Mushi contribute to this game. I think we're going to start seeing him roam around the map and try to blow this game wide open. And that's what we're going to watch, folks. We are going to see if Mushi is going to make VG's life a living hell. Ohio has actually moved here. He did, of course, finish his boots of travel. Very timely boots, even though he did die once. He got them at about 9:20, I would say, so good shape for him in that respect. And ZSMJ and Phi actually smoked up, so sort of a budget IO relate here. Phi, of course, level 5. If they could find 1 kill, I hope they don't think Ohio is still in the middle, because they certainly won't find him there. They actually, if Orange are careful, they would have seen the stuns coming out on these creeps. KYXY wandering to the bottom, trying to take advantage of this free lane. And VG, they might spot him out. They only have a quarter left on this, now a 10th left on the Smoke Deceit. Will they find KYXY? They need to find him to make this worth it. Otherwise, they've basically just made an expensive no teleport rotation to the bottom, which they could have done with TP scrolls. They won't find anybody. Oh, that's unfortunate. They're just clearing out the jungle now. They really need level 6 on this IO, I would say. It's very, very important. KYXY, now that he's level 6, feels comfortable going up against XTT, even 2 levels behind. Oh, ZSMJ and Phi. Now they know KYXY's here, though. KYXY has made his presence known. XTT going to pressure up. Can they get him? Will they find a KYXY? He does not know where ZSMJ and Phi are. Here we go. Here's the there it is. 1 second stun, but it's enough. The kill does go to ZSMJ. That's level 7, and it's the level 6 for the IO. That's very, very, very important. Arcane Boots earned. It will help them a lot, both for the push and for the relocate. And the question is, will this relocate amount to a hill? Oh man, actually they picked up Mushi immediately. Mushi porting in and immediately dies. Net and Extinct in trouble now without their leader. 4-second stun returned by Net, but he's getting taken down. CTY, a lot of damage, but Phi actually cops a huge split earth. They're still in here. Phi falls. Extinct will fall. KYXY's here. He's stunned out. The RP might come out. Will he use this RP? Yes. He will use it on ZSMJ. ZSMJ may fall the skewer back into the tower. Yes. They pick up a kill. But Ohio in a bit of trouble here. But XDT forced to run. And CTY. Oh, man. Ohio's so low. Nice shockwave from KYXY. But they may just flee here. Both teams may flee. Ohio lives. A couple kills for Orange. But unfortunately, the fact that they filtered in 1 by 1, 2 by 2 meant that they lost some massive... They incurred massive losses there, folks. They really only took down Phi and ZSMJ in exchange for quite a few heroes. And Phi and ZSMJ really looking a lot better now. You have the level 8 Chaos Knight, the level 7 Wisp. They're pretty low level relative to their targets, but not doing so bad. And XTT, even with poor creep farm, has amazing levels. He's actually level 10, tied for the highest level on the map. And Mushi's had a quiet game so far here, folks. Meanwhile, Ohio, he actually gets relocated upon. They do get the kill. 4-second stun on the ZSMJ from Net, but the problem is their heroes die so quickly. CTY, will he make it out? No! The lift up, they finally get a kill on this Dragon Knight. Mushi finally on the board. He gets 1 kill. Buyback from Ohio, so some early buybacks here. XTT, he's going to have to run out. He will actually Blade Fury out. And Orange pushing the middle. They don't feel comfortable with this game anymore. They found the kill on Dragon Knight in exchange for their Tinker, but suddenly they're not feeling good. They're feeling like they have to sort of get some map control. Let's get the last tier 1 tower. Let's put ourselves 2 towers ahead. And Leshrac, even with that rank 1, oh man! Reality Rift on Mushi, but he blinks out. Still a very dangerous position. ZSMJ 4-second stun, and he's getting March of the Machines pretty heavily. What will actually happen in this lane? It looks like not a lot of a lot. Orange still seeking to push in here. Still seeking to... They can clear out creep waves so trivial easily. Here comes Tinker. Here comes Ohio. But will he get jumped on? He actually cancels his TP. And oh man! The Reality Rift on KYX, but they may take him down very quickly. 4-second stun on 2 people. ZSMJ actually taking a ton of damage. He will Magic Wand and try to get to the high ground. Mushi trying to find a kill here. Defensive disruption on ZSMJ. Fi getting taken down. So does Net. ZSMJ still jumping in. And Fenrir, he will get taken down. No! Rockets don't get him. Oh man, Mushi actually taken down. 4-second stun. Wow. The kill on Mushi. This Queen of Pain. They invested so much farm into her, and so far it's done nothing. It's done almost less than nothing. He doesn't have his Orchid, and he's really not contributing that much to these fights. Omni Slash still up on XDT. He's hunting the background of the... Wow, Orange, that backfired severely. I'm kind of surprised that they're not doing better in these fights. CTY is going this... Southeast Asia style Shadow Blade Dragon Knight. This will give them better initiation. Oh, the relocate onto Ohio again. I mentioned that this Io is so strong against this Tinker, and I think we could start seeing Io in Asian play as a counter specifically to Tinker play. And that's exactly what you're seeing. That's 2 times in a row that they've picked off Ohio fairly easily with this Io Chaos Knight. And all of a sudden, wow, VG making this look pretty good after a difficult laning phase. I would say worse than difficult. After a pretty bad laning phase, suddenly they seem to be in control of the pace of the game. Orange finally securing this tier 1 tower at great cost. Shadow Blade complete for CTY and about 200 gold. And a Smoke Gank. They're just making this Dragon Knight, sorry, this Chaos Knight Io very mobile. They really want to get the kills from it. They want to make it worthwhile, and they want to use this to get ZSMJ back. At this point, he's not even taking farm. He's slowly... Oh, man. This could actually backfire severely. They will kill Mushi very, very quickly. The Blade Fury to finish it, but there's a lot of people here. And RP could come. RP just on ZSMJ, actually, and there's still an Omni Slash to worry about. They're turning this around. Net may die. Yes, he dies to the Omni Slash. ZSMJ safely in a defensive disruption. KYX actually in a ton of trouble here. 3-second stun. Yes, they bring down the Magnus. 3 down. Net, Mushi, KYXY on the floor, and they just can't find the win in these fights. They cannot find the team fight win. Mushi is falling so quickly that he's not able to be mobile. He's not able to generate the kills, and they lack damage without Mushi. They straight up do. And here comes the push from VG. They have the healing ward up. They actually use... I'm shocked that they're using this cosmetic ward. I'm always surprised to see this because it feels like it makes the healing ward so much worse because it's easier to see and easier to damage. But it does look cool. Oh man, another relocate up to the top. My bad for missing that, folks. 2-second stun returns from Net. If they can kill ZSMJ here, this would actually be a big deal. 2 seconds, 1 second. Yes, they're back. Net will not be able to find the return. And VG, the rest of them, pushing out this tower. Ohio, oh man, he's had a tough time. 4 deaths now. And Orange, they need to play carefully with this Tinker. They're maybe not that used to playing against the Io, and it's very effective against them this game. The 3 relocates, 3 successful relocates onto that Tinker. And he's been neutered. I mean, he's behind ZSMJ's net worth now, which considering he had a safe solo lane that he only died once in, and Dragon Knight had a lane in which he was pummeled in. Dragon Knight should not be, sorry, Chaos Knight, he shouldn't be ahead of net worth. He just shouldn't. And you're seeing Orange really struggle, actually, to put things on the board now. VG earning some map control. They have vastly better warding. You can see they control the jungle. They picked up a tower and did about half damage to another tower there. Orange, they're Smoke Gank. They want to try to make something happen. They want to return this damage onto VG. Dragon Knight, of course, finishing out his Shadow Blade. Chaos Knight working on his BKB. KYXY, he does have his Blink Dagger, so this is a big deal for this Magnus. Meanwhile, Ohio, I will just have to see what his next item is because he has died so much. And Mushi, his situation is obvious. He wants to finish that Orchid, which looked like it would be a great time, but his 3 deaths and only 2 kills have really slowed down this Queen of Pain's timing. Oh man, Fi and CSMJ, they don't care if they have the relocate cooldown up, they will just Smoke Gank you. Mushi, oh no, we'll have to see how long the stun is. There's the Phantasm, 3-second stun, yes, he's down! Queen of Pain is on the ground. ZSMJ may have to pivot into... I don't know, folks. I feel like he might have to pivot into a BKB because he is just getting brought down again and again. This is falling apart for Orange. Juggernaut purchased a Shadow Blade as well. VG is just... Oh, here comes the relocate. Ohio in trouble again. But have Orange baited them successfully? Oh, they haven't. VG peel back. They know that Orange can reinforce and they... Ooh, wow. Very smart play here. Orange... They left ZSMJ alone instead of leaving Ohio alone, and somehow VG, almost with preternatural reflexes, decided to go for the Queen of Pain rather than for Ohio on the Tinker. And that was the completely smart decision, because Tinker was safe and Queen of Pain was not. Oh man, CTY pressuring this tower. I'm not sure Orange can defend this tower. I mean, they don't have a fortification. It seems like this will have to go down, and Fenrir just using Shadow Poison down the slope here just to keep Orange's heroes off. And it's only the top tower. Oh, they do find a kill on XTT there. Mushi scoring another point. He gets the kill spree. That it will take him basically to his Orchid Malevolence. So Orange, they do have control of this top lane, is what I was going to say. They have their tier 1, they have the tier 2 up. Fi and ZSMJ, they can't control every part of the map, and so Mushi finds some farm here, but will he find himself relocated upon? They know where he is. Do they think he's safe, though, or not? I think they have the relocate cooldown available. Kill on XTT is good. He did have his Shadow Blade, so he finished some items. ZSMJ done with his Orchid. That'll be useful, but I don't think it'll be game-changing. Wow, VG with this vision. They have the vision of the low ground here. They just have a huge swath of the map plotted out for them. And that's going to be difficult to deal with for Orange. Ohio just picking off some creeps there. Most likely still going to be the standard blink play for the Stinker, but I don't know, actually. We could see a lot of different things. Orange smoked up. They're going to try to barrel up the middle. Maybe try to find a kill on CTY here. CTY not in a safe position at all. Of course, this is not a BKB Dragon. There's the RP expended onto CTY. They'll bring Ohio in here, too. Split Earth, and they will fit. How is he still alive? Oh, they don't have detection for the Shadow Blade. Oh, what an error from Orange. 5 players for that kill. The RP, and they didn't have countermeasures for the Shadow Blade. Oh, man. Mechanism almost done for Fi's IO. Oh, that was a lot of resources expended for Orange there. And VG, it looks like now that they know there's no RP, they may go for the Roshan. They may not. They may just seek to turn this around. They see Mushi out solo again. He does blink down to the creep wave. He's getting the heck out of here, actually. You see Orange counter-warded the high ground ward. And VG, they know Orange can't see. They know they don't have an RP, and they're going to use this time to go for the Roshan. Let's take a look at the levels, folks. We do actually have CTY and XTT ruling the roost. CTY with the 2-level advantage against his counterpart, Ohio. And XTT now, magically almost, a 1-level advantage over Queen of Pain. Of course, he's 6-2 to Mushi's 3-4. So no surprise, but nonetheless, this is an advantage for VG. ZSMJ, he was at one point the 2nd lowest level person on the map, and now he's level 12. He's actually 3 levels ahead of KYXY. Now with the Aegis added to his growing item total, he will have BKB fairly soon. No, still a little ways to go on it. The relocate, Mushi, he's in trouble. The Dragon Knight's done. The Reality Rift, the Tether's done. Yes, they don't even need the Chaos Bolt. Orange, they're in a lot of trouble, folks. I would say that even though, they're down 10 kills, but they're at the tipping point. They're basically on the ropes. You can see that it all just kind of goes to shit for Orange around the 14-minute mark. Now they're down to about 10,000 XP behind. They're about 4,000 gold behind. And this is a delicate position. They need levels. I mentioned this earlier. I don't remember what cast I was doing, but when you're up against a Chaos Knight IO and you're behind on levels, it's the worst place to possibly be, unless you're already in the process of pushing down all their towers. You end up with 2 competing impulses. One is to spread out so you can make up the XP deficit, and one is to stay clumped so that CKIO doesn't destroy you. And so far the CKIO, once they're actually up, they've had fantastic coordination. The lane phase was punishing, but so far the post-lane phase has made up for it. CTY, interestingly enough, he does have that Fire Dragon, so no longer the same pushing force, but an ability to do some AoE damage. So VG, thinking that they're going to be transitioning into 5v5 soon. And this could be a 5v5 here, of course. RP is up on KYXO, but because he's behind on levels, he's in fact really struggling on levels for this Magnus. He only has the level 1 RP, and its duration is actually not that fantastic. ZSMJ getting healed a little bit by Fi here, just popping out this urn and using his overcharge to just heal ZSMJ, and very effective in that respect. TP to the bottom by CTY just to clear out this creep wave, still using his Fire Dragon for that AoE damage. And Orange, they successfully defend the tier 1 tower. They retain their sort of control of this column that they can farm in and not have to worry about, but they didn't do much else other than that. Again, this is their 5 players. You can see that Orange, they're in a clumped position, and unless they can make something happen, this is going to go from bad to worse as far as the level of disadvantage goes. Blink Dagger, like I said, in Ohio, no huge surprise here that he would make that, and they're doing okay, but the issue is that they will struggle for farm from here on in. They were ahead on farm for a while, but you can see, oh, KYX, unsuccessful fish. He does not fish for ZSMJ. If the skewer had hit, that would be one thing. They actually use their Orchid as well. And ZSMJ, he's seeking to chase. The Reality Rift does not hit. The line of sight or the range was broken, so they didn't quite get that out. And Orange, good warding here. They actually see that XTT was looking to come around the back and do an Omni Slash. So he had Shadow Blade up, but they saw him after the Shadow Blade expired. So Orange still sticking together. This is the best thing they can do. They don't want to get caught out. They don't want to get picked off. And meanwhile, VG just applying more and more pressure. Right now, looking like they're in control. There's still 4 minutes on this Aegis. Actually, more like 3 minutes on the Aegis. But VG, they pop down the healing ward. This usually signals that they're going to seek to push down another tower. Gonna wait for the next creep wave, put the healing ward in the midst of it, and maybe not, actually. Maybe they won't seek to get the creep wave. There is still a tier 1 tower, and they may seek to just push through the path of least resistance and get that tier 1 tower down. XTT just heading to the side shop, picking up a point booster. So this is that Juggernaut number 3 build we see. They usually don't go for the sort of heavy auto attack, which is more typical of a Juggernaut 1 position. They go for something like sometimes Shadow Blade, sometimes other things, but the one of the key items is that Aghanim Scepter. Aghanim Scepter Juggernaut is actually very good in some respects because it gives you imputed survivability. It gives you that ability to sort of, while you're jumping, not worry about any sort of damage because it is invulnerability. It can be quite useful against Magnus because for that entire time that you're in the air, you simply don't worry about the RP, and the Magnus has to make an unsavory decision of, do I RP now or do I do it after the Juggernaut comes back? Ohio jumping in and blinking out immediately. This is the typical Tinker play once you get Blink Dagger, and VG aren't going to be able to do nearly as much about this. The Blink actually is an important countermeasure to the Wisp Chaos Knight ability to punish the Tinker. So Ohio definitely going to be using that for all it's worth. VG seeking to get a kill. Oh, KYXY is actually stunned down. ZSMJ pops his BKB, and killing the Magnus makes it so difficult for Orange to prosecute this fight in any way whatsoever. Net, he's trying his best. He is reality rifted. He pops the Juggernaut spin. This might get him out, but Extinct is stunned. Extinct will not be so lucky. He has no magic immunity. Nice flame breath from CTY. Catches out Net, and 3 down for Orange. Pushed all the way back. No way that they can defend the tier 1 tower now. VG going to pick up this kill. No problem. Fenrir actually destroying it. I'm not sure I agree with this. I mean, you see him picking up his typical Medallion of Courage for Shadow Demon. This helps out Chaos Knight and Dragon Knight so much. I actually love this Medallion of Courage pickup for the Shadow Demon. And Fi, you saw him use the mechanism there. He's had it complete. He's had 1,000 gold. This is once again a surprisingly rich number 4 Wisp. If we actually look at the gold per minute. Yeah, this Wisp has 280. He is doing better for gold per minute than KYXY is. And that's remarkable. This is a KYXY who was the number, I mean, essentially a number 3 position Magnus, but you really expect him to be doing a little better than this. Now Magnus, like I said, not item dependent. Arcane Boots Blink is enough for him. And the fact that Orange don't have control of the map means that they're going to be trying to not guaranteeing farm for him so much as for Mushi and Ohio. But they need more. Both of these guys need more. Mushi, building towards that BKB. He's going to try to get that magic immunity that's so critical against Chaos Knight. Even though Chaos Knight is an auto attacker, BKB actually has paramount importance against him. I don't know, but I think Ohio might want BKB as well, frankly. Yeah, I would actually think BKB after Blink would be a good move, maybe, for this Tinker. You really want that Scythe of Vice, but it's just not that important. Ooh, a fight developing in the bottom. The relocate comes out. XTT in a little bit of trouble here. He will die, but KYXY is still here, actually. ZSMJ smacking down. There's the RP. Mushik might try to respond to this. No, he's too low life. Net is actually getting beaten down. They're just too far ahead on levels. 2 down already. KYXY in a bit of trouble. No, he'll blink out. And ZSMJ considers turning around, but no. So they keep their Queen of Pain alive, and they trade Juggernaut for Leshrac and Rubik. Not actually the worst trade in the world. This Aegis will be down for ZSMJ. Actually should be down already, yes. The Aegis is gone. He used another charge of his BKB. An okay trade for Orange, the problem being still that they're falling further and further behind. You can see that CTY, he's the person on VG who had a good start and has been doing well since. So he really just is able to find all the farm that he wants and do very, very well. He has 3.5k gold. Sorry for missing the kill, folks. I just woke up to cast this game. But shouldn't miss too many more kills. Orange, they just find themselves constrained more and more. And the lack of a traditional carry means that most of their damage has to be delivered by ZSMJ. Oh, actually, I cancel of his TP from Ohio there, so still just not feeling safe. Still not feeling like he can find the farm. ZSMJ and Fi, they're lurking here. Oh, blink out by KYXY. Knows that he's not safe. Orchid from the high ground onto ZSMJ just to dissuade him. Actually, Rocket's coming out. ZSMJ, he may seek to try to make something happen here because this is just the 2 of them. No. ZSMJ and Fi are well away from this situation. And meanwhile, CTY just farming. What has he gone? Has he gone Heart? Yes. Heart is coming for CTY very, very soon. That's going to be an extremely tanky. In fact, I would go as far as to say I don't know what Orange is planning to do to kill this Dragon Knight once he has Heart. And that's why this is such a good pickup. It presents a question that right now Orange simply do not have the answer to. This is a Queen of Pain with still a fairly standard build. ZSMJ, wow, Fi, sitting right on top of Mushi. This is how you can tell Orange are scared. You have a Wisp sitting on top of your Queen of Pain, and you don't go for it. You don't try to kill it. Oh, man. And it's Mushi we're talking about here. Mushi is an extremely aggressive player, so you know it takes every fiber of his self-restraint to not try to kill that Wisp. But he knows that if he tries to go in on the IO will tether away or bring friends. Wow. That just tells the entire story of the game right there. Heart complete on CTY. I just don't know. Tinker does not deal that much damage. Queen of Pain right now does not deal that much damage. Dragon Knight is going to have 3,000 health. 3,000 health, folks. In addition to being pretty quick, having a stun, having this incredible armor of 22, and just, I mean, not that they care that much about that Orange, but how can they kill this Dragon Knight? Chaos Knight is one thing. I mean, he's got BKB too, which presents another problem. And oh man, Vitality booster for him. VG are going for the massive tank. Only 650 gold remaining until Juggernaut hits Aghanim's, and that's pseudo-tankiness, because of course he can't be damaged while he's actually in that ultimate form. VG, the Frost Dragon up for CTY, and I don't think they're going to be settled for a tier 2. I think they could move on. I think a tier 3 is in the offing. A healing ward will heal up the damage from the March of the Machines. Yeah, here we go, the healing ward's up. CTY just sieging this tower solo and just dealing such damage to it. Orange, they're going to want to keep their fortification up, possibly for the tier 3. And you can see, they're turtle shelled up. They know that they can't defend this tier 3. They know, wow, they actually dire fortified because Mushi trying to counter push here. Going to deal a little bit of damage to the tower, but this isn't a big deal. We actually get a TP back from VG, so I'm wrong. They decided not to prosecute the tier 3. Just getting that tier 2. Might wait for the next Roshan. It is actually up in half a minute, so XCT going to use this opportunity to finish his Aghanim Scepter. 2 more last hits. There, he actually misses that one, but he gets the other one. And there we go. That'll be the conclusion of his Aghanim Scepter. They're going to secure up the next Aegis, and then in 1 minute, when CTY has the next Dragon Knight ultimate, oh, Orange. Huh. They're smoked up. They know the Roshan timing. This could be their opportunity that they need. Before Chaos Knight has Aegis, before Chaos Knight has his heart, try to win the next fight. We see BKB starting to get assembled on Magnus. What's Mushi's BKB status? Still not quite there. He needs about 500 more gold. Roshan is up. The Medallion of Courage will bring it down more quickly. Fenrir, this Medallion of Courage paying off. Oh, this is falling quickly. If Orange want to do something, they got to do something quickly. They're not going to go for it. Orange don't feel comfortable in the team fight. I can't really blame them. A 5v5 would be extremely difficult. But as a consequence, this is a scot-free Roshan, basically. No problem for VG to take this Aegis. No surprise that it's on ZSMJ, of course. He doesn't have his heart quite finished yet. He's about 2,000 gold away. Of course, if you look at the creep farm, ZSMJ has taken almost none. Only 64 last hits, in fact. He only has 20 more last hits than Fenrir does on Shadow Demon. Like, this Dragon Knight, his Chaos Knight has really relied on farming heroes for all of his capital. In stark contrast, XTT and CTY, especially CTY, has gotten just a ton of creep farm. March of the Machine is very effective here. This melee composition is kind of soft, this Tinker-style turtling. The flip side being that Healing Ward will heal up a lot of that. Actually, is that Elder Dragon form? Yes! We have Rubik in Dragon form. I love this. I love seeing Rubik as the dragon. The problem is, the siege has begun. CTY is overcharged. He's putting a lot of damage. There's the Phantasm. ZSMJ dealing a lot of damage as well. Good timing for the fortification from Orange. ZSMJ still counter-pushing. Sorry, Mushi's still counter-pushing. He wants that BKB. He actually has the money for it now. He's going to come back at the last possible moment. But the last possible moment is nigh, folks. VG are through. There's no fortification left. They're going to try to bring down this tier 3, this barracks. ZSMJ, he has to come back. He must come back. Wow, nice job. Nice steals from Net. He actually steals the Elder Dragon form and the Phantasm so that he has Dragon Knight illusions. There's the lift. What will they do here? They get the Splitter Earth on CTY. He has Shadow Blade up. KYX was stunned. KYX was stunned. They bring him down. 2-second stun. ZSMJ actually opposite the BKB. ZSMJ dealing a lot of damage. He picks up Fi and Fenrir. Both supports down for VG, and actually, they may need to end this push here. The barracks is not down. CTY loses his Dragon form. I think, in my opinion, Orange should pursue. No, they don't. They decide not to pursue, but wow. Excellent play there. Finally putting it together. ZSMJ coming in once Mushi coming in once he has the BKB and really landing a very excellent Sonic Wave. Ghost Scepter up as well, just from those couple kills that he earned. Oh, they're back in. The Shadow Blade. They don't have detection. They don't know. Net is down. No buyback. Wow. VG, an inspired move. Mushi is stunned for 4 seconds. No, they'll peel back. They'll peel back. The kill on Net is enough. Oh, man. Really clever play by VG to come in on the back of that Shadow Blade because they knew that Orange didn't have detection, that Net wouldn't know that CTY was back in. KYXY, he's not able to afford his BKB just yet. In fact, he's not that close, but Ghost Scepter is starting to come up. Oh, the turnaround. ZSMJ, he is silenced. He is orchided. Do they have enough damage? That's the question. The Rockets from Taker. Yes, I think they do. Yes, the Aegis is down. They just bring down the Aegis. They probably can't go any further because XTT is there. No, they expend the RP. ZSMJ pops off the BKB, and it's basically an RP trade for a BKB. Not actually that tremendously favorable of a trade, if you ask me. But at least they get the Aegis. At least that. But the problem is, actually, yeah, on second thought, the fact that they didn't get ZSMJ and the fact that they expended RP, this is 110 seconds with no reverse polarity. CTY, he is in Elder Dragon form. VG, they're not done. Oh, Net, he's stunned. Will he go down? No buyback for this Rubik. This Rubik is a big deal. He's very, very important. Mushi is BKB'd up. Oh, he actually gets purged. Lots of damage. Ohio, Net 3-second stun. Oh man, Extinct is on the ground. CTY starting the siege once again. Mushi, his BKB is actually out of time, so he's going to have to be very careful about how he fights this out. XTT and ZSMJ, they may get the racks here. I don't know what Orange can do. They buy back Extinct. He will pop a Lightning Storm, but unfortunately, here we go. Illusions for Dragon Knight, Illusions for Chaos Knight, and there we go. The first set of racks. VG, they want more. They do have creeps up on the high ground, I think, so no backdoor protection for this tower. Here we go. They're bringing down this tower very quickly. The March of the Machines is up. Ohio sieging them as much as he can. The counter siege of a sort. And VG, they're so patient. They're impatient and yet patient at the same time because they do as much damage as possible and peel back because they know one important thing. Orange can't punish them. Orange have no ability to actually punish VG. And they're ruling this mid game. Juggernaut, XTT, he's now up to Yasha. We could see a Sajin Yasha just for the massive movement speed. We could also see Manta style for this Juggernaut because it's just the levels. He's level 18. This Juggernaut deals no joke damage. So Manta style I would like. Actually, I think Manta style I would like a little more because he can Manta style and then ultimate. Like he can Manta style out of Orchid, and then immediately ultimate after the Orchid is removed by the Manta style. And so then you have a Juggernaut who's difficult to deal with. You have CTY who's difficult to deal with because of Heart. And let's see ZSMJ's status. Yes! ZSMJ has completed his Heart of Tarask. So not the ZSMJ game you typically see, or not the one that maybe people were expecting, but still, he's managed to get so many kills and be an important factor in this game after having a disastrous early game. 3 players for VG, all 3 cores at this point with high net worth. And the net worth for Orange, basically Mushi is their primary hope. He's done a good job of surviving later on in this game, but the issue is surviving isn't enough. The issue is that they have to find a way to win this fight against 2 Hearts of Tarask. 2 Hearts of Tarask. And here we go. VG are on the high ground. Elder Dragon form stolen, but doesn't matter. Net dies immediately. Mushi, here's the Omni Slash. Good for another kill. Mushi immediately having to run out. CTY just, oh my god, that dragon does a lot of damage. And Orange have GG'd. And they're right to do so. They have no way to defend these Raxes. And that's it, folks. Orange, they're taken out. Orange will have to take 4th place in the Netolic Raid Call Pro League East Division. VG, using a strategy that we would typically not expect from teams from this region, but nonetheless using it well. A combination of a strong mid-game pushing strategy with a Chaos Knight IO, something we typically only see European teams really go for, but though the combination of those factors, they lose the laning phase, but they win everything thereafter. And the ability of that Chaos Knight IO to really punish the Tinker, not to be underestimated, and in fact Ohio's Tinker was, I would say, as close to a non-factor as a Tinker can be in this game, and that really, you have to give it up to Phi and ZSMJ for controlling Ohio's Tinker in the mid-game. And honestly, controlling ZSMJ as well. These mobile heroes, their mobility ends up not counting for naught when they can just get teleported on by a Chaos Knight IO. And VG, a greedy lineup, a non-traditional lineup, and maybe not the 4-protect one you might expect from a team with ZSMJ, but they're using that to their own advantage. And we have to say, CTY, a fantastic game put together on this Dragon Knight. Great farm right from the beginning. Excellent in team fights. He had a couple of really clever flame breaths and just 3-1 and 16 on this Dragon Knight in the end, putting together 535 gold per minute, really using that mid to their advantage and pushing effectively, not getting caught out of position, but for once, excellent play. And XTT also, after a difficult early round for the Juggernaut, just everywhere he needed to be. In fact, XTT, he got most of VG's early kills secured just by great positioning. He turned that top situation around, like made the lane not quite as much of a disaster as it was at the very beginning. So huge play from all of VG. And Orange, they tried to stick into it. Net had some good play as Rubik. Mushi tried to be defensive, but in the end, this farming Queen of Pain, even with the 408 gold per minute, just seemed flimsy. It seemed so ineffective, especially as BKBs and hearts started to be flying around on VG. And that's it, folks. VG, they move on to the Losers Bracket Finals. They guarantee that they get some money from this tournament. They guarantee that they're at least in round 3. What's next? Well, we move on the 28th of April, that's Sunday, to the Losers Bracket Finals in both the Eastern and Western divisions. In the Eastern Division, AFD versus VG, best of 3. A rematch of the team that sent VG down to the Losers Bracket. In the Western Division, we will have Arctic against Root Gaming, also a best of 3. I'm excited, folks. I'm excited for these future matches. Thank you so much for watching today. Dota TV, if you bought a tournament ticket, we appreciate that very much. Twitch TV, if you're watching on this stream or any other stream. And if you're checking us out through the Raid Call client, we love to see that as well. Your caster today was Vikramon, V-Y-K-R-O-M-O-N-D. It was a solo cast. My co-caster, unfortunately, was offline. As a result, I missed a couple kills that I probably shouldn't have. I do apologize for that, but hopefully you were entertained at the very least. And this was an entertaining game. It felt like it could have gone either way. Orange with the advantage in the laning phase and with a severe disadvantage at all times after. I am Vikramon, V-Y-K-R-O-M-O-N-D. This weekend, I'm casting the Premier League playoffs. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the Premier League, Twitch TV/ThePremierLeague. And on Sunday, I am casting Netolic in the future round. So Netolic TV. Thank you for watching. Thank you for enjoying this interesting metagame impacting game between Orange and VG. And I hope you all have a good day. If you are going to watch the G1 League games, I will join you in Dota TV and the stream, because I'll definitely be checking those out. And see you guys later. Thanks again.